Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talks Daily, where we explore the ever-evolving landscape of technology and its profound impact on both businesses and our daily lives. I'm your host, Neil C. Hughes, and I have a fantastic conversation lined up for you today. But before I do, any Apple lovers out there or any business leaders looking at embracing the Apple Mac ecosystem in the enterprise, check out the all-new We Got Your Mac podcast. Because I think organisations today are navigating a rapidly changing threat landscape. So how safe is it to equip your employees with a Mac? Well, a new podcast called We Got Your Mac is taking a deep dive into why more and more businesses are embracing Apple Mac's platform on a grand scale. The podcast unpacks considerations when deploying Mac. So if that's something that interests you, please tune into the insightful discussions on Mac's operating system, hardware security, while getting a comprehensive overview of the security ecosystem too. They have new episodes every 2 weeks, feature guest experts who share their knowledge and expertise too. It's a great podcast. So if you're interested in staying up to date with the latest trends and insights, go to wegotyourmac.com and subscribe to the podcast too. Tell them Neil sent you. But in a world where the way we pay for things is rapidly changing, I've invited Karna Crawford, the Chief Marketing Officer from Marqeta, onto the podcast to join me today, because they've recently released its 2023 State of Payments report, which offers compelling insights into the world of embedded finance tech solutions, and also that profound influence that it's having on retailers as a result. For example, from the morning coffee at Starbucks to ordering groceries online, the convenience of retail apps has become a part of our daily routines. And according to Marqeta's State of Payments 23 report, a whopping 76% of consumers used a retailer's app to make a purchase. But this isn't just a trend younger generations have been adopting for the last few years. Even baby boomers are embracing app-based purchasing. But I want to dig a little bit deeper into some of the findings from this report, including the growing confidence in digital banking, the evolving landscape of holiday shopping, and the critical role of credit cards in this season of spending. But enough from me. Let's get Karna onto the podcast now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Neil. I am Karna Crawford, and I joined Marqeta as the Chief Marketing Officer back in about June or so. And Marqeta, as you know, is a modern card issuing platform, and we really focus on empowering our customers to create customized and innovative payment cards and embedded finance solutions. And at the end of the day, it's all about igniting loyalty and engagement.
Well, you've been incredibly busy. One of the first things that put you back on my radar was learning about Marqeta's 2023 State of Payments report, particularly regarding the shift towards app-based purchasing across different generations. There was so much going on in there, but for anyone that didn't see it, can you just give me a brief overview of some of those key findings?
Absolutely. First, I have to tell you that I have an amazing team that really puts together interesting reports like this. And from this most recent report, one of the big things that it told us is that overall consumer confidence is really growing in embedded finance and digital banking. And we've obviously in the world, we've been watching it slowly happen. And now the data is showing that it's not in progress, it's here. I think in general, we're at a bit of an inflection point, Neil, in the payment space, as consumers are really thinking about new ways of payments and new shopping solutions as common part, as opposed to some of the legacy systems. So when you think about it, in the US alone, 86% of mobile wallet users have made a purchase via the embedded mobile app of a retailer. And 72% said that they feel confident enough to leave their wallets at home and only purely rely on their cell phone and their mobile wallet or their digital wallet for making payments. That's a huge shift that we've been seeing. And that said, though, they use both traditional and digital banking. So as we're looking at where the world is going, this shift and this pivot is happening, which introduces amazing opportunities for us in the payment space, but also for our customers and us retailers.
Some incredibly big stats there. And we are at that magical time of year where we're starting to take all stats like that and trends and everything that we've learned from this year and how that will impact next year in 2024, which is just a couple of weeks away now. So I'm curious, with all that in mind, how do you see embedded finance technology solutions impacting retailers, especially considering the high percentage of consumers using retail apps for purchases now? It feels like there's so much up for grabs.
For sure. It's interesting because that shift that we were just talking about, it is fundamentally accelerating what's happening in the retail and commerce space. First and foremost, customer experience is now the preeminent driver of engagement and loyalty. And in a world where retailer experiences and retailer products and services are at parity, the big thing that drives differentiation and drives loyalty is the experience. So as we look ahead, embedded finance is ushering in this new era where brands that historically are dependent on the third-party bank experience and have a level of disruption to deliver financial services and transactions, they can now, and as we move into 24, we'll be able to seamlessly weave those experiences into their branded experiences. That is going to allow them to create innovation and unique marriages between their retail and commerce experiences and the transactions in a way that will change the game for consumer experience. It'll create stickier relationships. It'll help them maintain control of the customer data and the customer experience. And ultimately, it'll introduce new ways of differentiating their retail and commerce experiences from their competition.
And I'd love to go back to that powerful stat we mentioned a moment ago there. 72% of US mobile wallet users will be confident enough to leave their wallets at home, or already are, should I say. So what do you think this says about the future of physical wallets and cash transactions?
Well, I don't think cash is necessarily going away yet, especially as you look at various kind of socioeconomic groups. Cash continues to play a role. 35% of consumers use cash less than they did a year ago. And primarily that usage is happening for smaller purchases, cash-only businesses, and to kind of pay and receive money from friends. But at the same time, 2 out of 3 consumers used a mobile wallet in the past year, and 93% say that they find it convenient to make purchases on their mobile phone, which is actually up from 2022. So when you think about it, for consumers, cash is still necessary, but this shift is much greater as consumer confidence in the digital payment solutions continues to grow, and we expect this to even increase in the coming years. Ease of use, reliability, and overall higher conviction around acceptance rates when you go to a particular establishment really have turned things around for mobile wallets and how it has grown in the life of our customers and consumers.
And the report also indicates almost a mix of traditional and digital banking preferences amongst consumers. So how do you interpret that in terms of things like consumer trust and the evolving role of digital banking? Because it seems like there's, the best of both worlds going on here.
There really is. And I think, a way that I would say to think about it is, in the past, in the legacy world, there was a different perspective what banking means to consumers. So in the legacy world, the only way a consumer could engage with any real financial transaction was with a bank, and in particular with a banking branch. Now, over the course of the last, 5 to 10 years, and even more accelerated as you go into COVID, commerce and the digital transformation era that has happened with corporations has really shifted the dynamic in the world. It's shifted us to digital commerce and financial transacting, significantly reducing the need for being in a branch or in real life. And then you add on that, the embedded finance era is then collapsing the friction that previously existed between transactions and commerce. So brands are now empowered to seamlessly offer transactions in their commerce experience much more effortlessly and more seamlessly for their customers. What that ultimately then means is that this transition is becoming commonplace in the way consumers engage with us. And the way consumers think about banking and branches is just simply not the same as those legacy mindsets that we had in the past. It introduces tremendous opportunity for brands to play a role that may have been traditionally held by a bank, but offer those services and capabilities directly to customers because they don't see it as a bank thing per se. They see it as a transaction that's tied to something that they're trying to do or an experience they're trying to have.
And we're all right in the heart of the holiday season right now. Our inboxes are bulging with offers, stopping us from any chance of getting back to inbox zero. But what trends are you observing in consumer spending and payment methods, and how do those trends reflect broader economic concerns as well? Is there anything you're seeing around this?
Sure. I think, our data shows that 62% of consumers in the U.S. who own a co-branded credit card consider themselves a customer of the brand. Yeah. And as look at this shopping season and this holiday season, we are definitely seeing a large amount of consumers paying attention to the experience of their brands and planning to make their purchases on credit cards. So I think as we think about the demand for financial services, it's continuing to drive the value and the benefit of shopping with their co-brand cards, especially at a time where overall there's a certain level of sensitivity around the economic stability and the economic future. What I will also say, though, is buy now, pay later, BNPL, also is playing a really instrumental role in this holiday season as well, particularly for consumers that may not have as readily access to a co-brand credit card or to a credit card. BNPL is introducing new opportunities to be able to access the shopping and the gifts that they want for their family, friends, loved ones in a way that makes sense for them and can be controlled by them, helping to introduce new opportunities as well.
Yeah, that's something we're seeing here in the UK as well. I think it can be difficult to justify, $150 on a coat, but if you can split that into 3 Klarna payments, it suddenly becomes a lot more affordable for people. And then outside of that, there are a significant number of consumers relying on credit cards for holiday purchases, often for added protection that they bring. But what implications do you think this has for retailers and financial institutions, especially in terms of consumer behavior and financial health?
I think what's really important is that the demand for those services is growing. And I think that for those retailers, it presents a really interesting opportunity for them to create a custom experience that is going to actually help the consumer be in control of their financial health together with that brand. And we didn't necessarily have that capability in the past because of the fact that the relationship was not as direct between the brand and the end user or the consumer. So as we look at this, I think that you're going to start to see that retailers have the ability to customize experiences, whether it's through their co-brand card, their rewards programs, or even their buy now, pay later, to create experiences that put more control in the hands of the consumer to manage their health together through that co-brand experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And if I understood this right, one of the things that seemed to stand out for me was that the report suggested a shift in brand loyalty and user engagement. So with that in mind, how can retailers better leverage credit cards and payment technologies to enhance the entire digital experience and bring back some of that loyalty too?
100%. And I kind of was alluding to this through the past couple times of our conversation.
Yeah.
Personalized payment vehicles, whether it be a co-brand credit card, buy now, pay later, et cetera, for a brand, they can be more than just a payment vehicle. They are an opportunity for brands to drive traffic and influence purchase behavior, and can become kind of an integral part of a modern marketing mix or a modern purchase driving mix for a brand. It's a missed opportunity when you treat rewards as static, or when those rewards and that experience is owned by the banking partner instead of owned and stewarded by the brand. At its core, the best co-branded cards and those programs are built from the ground up, leveraging what you know about targeted consumer and buyer personas, and then layering on rich incentive programs that really keep customers coming back and feeling the value and the specialness that is unique to you, and maxing out what the rewards and moving on to the next versus maxing out rewards and moving on to the next program. Marqeta recently launched a suite of enhanced credit capabilities that really put more control in the hands of our brands, whether that was for a commercial brand or a consumer credit card brand. It ultimately allows for seamlessly integrated experiences that utilize your data to help deliver rewards that engage, delight, and drive loyalty in a completely different way than was available to you in the past.
And if we dare to look beyond the report and towards life in 2024, and indeed beyond that, are there any emerging payment technologies or trends that you're watching closely that you think might significantly impact consumer behavior and the retail industry over the next few years?
For sure. I mean, there's the ever-present trend that is AI. I don't even know if we can really call it trend anymore. It's more like a macro reality that's in process, right? But I think AI has incredible potential for our financial services and fintech landscape. I think especially when it comes to credit, this is an area of focus that we are doing significant investment in for Marqeta. I guess an example I might point to is that generative AI and the possibility of a predictive credit card, which could meet consumers' needs for different credit options and revolutionize the process of both applying for and obtaining credit, as well as revolutionizing that dynamic, personalized rewards experience that I was just mentioning a few minutes ago. AI, coupled with kind of built on top of machine learning, can create profound changes to the way that this experience can exist in the future. And so I'm really keeping my eyes on that, and Marqeta is investing to help create that new future.
So many powerful stats in that report. I will ask you for a link on where people can get that in a few moments. But before we do, I want to have a little bit of fun with you before I let you go. And I always ask my guests to leave everyone listening with a song for our Spotify playlist, something that means something to you. Maybe it's your power song that you have when you give a keynote or something, and also a book that we can add to our Amazon wish list. But all I'm going to ask is, what would you like to leave everyone listening with, and why?
I love this question. So first, I'm going to let you in on a big secret that very few people know. One of my best hype songs is like my secret guilty pleasure hype song, and I can't even explain it, but it's Blank Space by Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
It is just one of those songs that gets me super hype. I will tell you another hype song for me, which is on a completely opposite end of that spectrum, is this song. I call it my Get Crunk song. It's this song called Win by J-Rock. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
It is like such the just get crunk and hype. I'm just in it to win it type of song. I love it. And then from a book's perspective, going in a more subdued direction, a friend of mine, a former colleague of mine, Dr. Marcus Collins, recently published a book called For the Culture. And For the Culture kind of reinforces the power of culture in influencing behaviors. I find it extremely inspirational for two reasons. One is that even though in my world at Marqeta, I'm in a B2B marketing space, at its core, I am helping my customers influence the money movement and, card transaction behaviors of their end users, whether they're customers or consumers. And this book does a great job of helping to understand how culture can impact those behaviors. And I'm utilizing it in, really unique ways in the way that I'm thinking about our business at Marqeta. What's also really inspiring about it for me is that it was written by Dr. Marcus Collins, is a person of color. And he has really introduced a point of inspiration for all young marketers of color around the world to see that you can do something really interesting, like publish a book, become a professor. And those are not necessarily things that young people of color are often thinking about in their life and in their career. And I just find it just an amazing thing that he has done. And it's an exciting opportunity for people to look up to.
Wow, two incredible choices there. I for sure will get the book added to our Amazon wish list. As an aging Swiftie, we'll also add Blank Space to Spotify and the J-Rock song. I think they're both up there with Sears Unstoppable, but there's a topic for another day. But for anyone listening, where would you like to point them if they want to check out the report that we've discussed today, or just find out more information about Marqeta, or even contact you or your team? Where would you like to point everyone?
I would say the best place to go is Marqeta.com. That has all of the great information about who we are and the fantastic offerings that we have in embedded finance, as well as not only the state of credit report, but all of our rich thought leadership reports that can help you learn more about the landscape and where it's going.
Well, we covered so much in a short amount of time today. Yes, holiday spending is on the rise, but US consumers in particular are worried about finances. Holiday shopping will be done via credit cards, and so many big trends and powerful stats there, especially about how we're leaving our wallets at home more and more. I think I'd love to stay in touch with you, see where this leads next year, because I think these trends are only going to continue. But you also had a chance to leave us with two cracking tunes and a book too. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Neil.
Wow. Cannot thank Karna enough for coming on and shedding light on this fascinating world of embedded finance and the changing landscape of payments. And as we find ourselves right in the heart of holiday season and begin to consider the evolving consumer behaviours, I think it's clear that retailers and financial institutions alike have a unique opportunity to redefine their offerings and enhance customer experiences. The credit card, when leveraged strategically, can become a powerful tool for building brand loyalty and providing a seamless digital experience. But remember, technology is not just about innovation, it's about adaptation, transformation. So if you found today's conversation as insightful as I did, or you've got something you want to add to the conversation, please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or send me a quick message on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. But that's it for today, so a big thank you as always for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.